Cherry's World is brought to you by Less is More Events. Get Lime. This is
Cherry's World Podcast. I'm here to put you up on a little bit of game. I need y'all to support this independent, positive music artist. That's right, something you can play in front of the kids. Her name is Legendary A.T. Terry. And her music is available on iTunes, Google, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. You can follow her on Facebook at Legendary AT or on Twitter at LegendaryAT1. She got something for everybody. Welcome to Cherry's World. I want to have a serious conversation on Cherry's World podcast. Courtney is here. He is a father. I have my friend Coke here, and he is a father. Coke, one of the reasons why I asked you to be on the show today is because you are not just a dad, you're a super duper dad, but you're a super duper man. And I want somebody to talk to the younger generation. I have never heard this man utter an ill word about his child's mother. And the way that I think our community is divided is they disassembled the Black family.
Yes.
And Coke is a true believer of a father is one to provide, profess, and protect. I say it all the time. Those are the duties of a man. Coke, please take over and explain your stance on your relationship with your child's mother.
Well, appreciate the kind words. First and foremost, this is a very deep topic for me, and it's extremely important for all of the reasons that you just uttered. For me, it's like I really don't understand where this negativity. Well, I understand where it stemmed from, but I don't understand why it continues to get carried on by brothers. Man, we're supposed to be kings, leaders, supposed to be, raising up, queens and future kings, but I don't understand why we continue to perpetuate this cycle of, I try not to use the term bad fathers or bad mothers because they've been guided a certain way or misguided, and they don't have the tools, the mental and even spiritual tools to be what they need to be a parent. Most of the time, it's been by what they call accident, although when you fucking, exactly what the ramifications of that shit is when you first enter into it, or at least you should. But after that happens, and boom, the child's here, 40 weeks later, if it's a full, extremely full-term pregnancy, you got a duty, man. You got a job to do. And for me personally, my upbringing was a little rough, you know what I'm saying, to say the least. With having, like 13 brothers and sisters, and having a situation where, and not to, badmouth my father, we actually, came to terms with some things. But, coming up like the way that I did and having that absence and not finding out who my father was until I was, 10 years old. And, understanding later why my mother had to kind of keep that from me. But going through that, I had to vow never to put any child of mine through something like that. And honestly, there's literally no more important title for a man to have other than father, besides husband and child of God. Outside of that, father is one of the most important titles that anybody could ever be. So I take it so serious. And, and I say all that to preface, getting into, talking about the respect of whom I chose to have a child with, well, children at this time. I have two now. But first of all, I made that choice. You understand? So the thing that I really don't get is that we're the ones who set the tone. Us as men. We set the tone in every relationship with our behavior, the way that we carry a situation, This is not to say that a woman may not throw it off, or a woman may not be, you know what I'm saying, somebody who might be a deadbeat mom. There's a lot of those out there. But like I said, it goes back to the point of being misguided. And then trying to have understanding in those situations to try to figure out, okay, well, why is she like this? And no matter what, the thing that I stand on is no matter how a woman may treat herself, carry herself, reflect poorly upon herself, I'm going to continuously show her respect because I want to breathe life into the one who I brought life into this world with.
Hmm.
If I don't do that, if I don't do that, I'm going to set a very bad precedent that is going to ultimately negatively impact my seed, my children. You know what I'm saying? Like, it becomes you, and you know, the second that you held baby girl in your arms the first time, this is probably the first time you truly felt that not only nothing else mattered, but individually, you don't matter more than her.
Absolutely.
Like, you felt that. You know what I mean? You felt that. So like
Yeah.
the first time I held my son, but the first time holding something that I played a part in creating such a precious thing. I was like, yo, I mean, that was like I broke down and I was like, yo, I got to do everything in my power to make this shit work. And it was rocky in the beginning because, you know, while I'm an excellent father, I have had a problem being a good, you know, partner in a relationship. I've been a shitty boyfriend, and I'm having to grow and mature in that respect. But because of that, you know, again, like I said, me being the man setting the tone, that made it rocky in the beginning. But I knew I had to stay steadfast in that situation in order to see it throughout the years and just prove to be consistent, prove that I'm going to be there, prove that, you know, and we'll get, you know, you'll grow past those initial growing pains, you know, just staying steadfast, staying respectful. Because the second you become disrespectful, what's going to happen? How is it going to reflect? And what is she going to start feeding into the life that you helped create? How many times have we heard, you know, sons, daughters, especially sons, and there's a certain dynamic to this. How many times have we heard sons having this disdain for their fathers based off of what their mothers have told them?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We've probably heard that thousands of times.
Yeah.
That's why you would hear rappers and songs, you know, my pops wasn't there, fuck him, I don't need him, and all that type of shit, right? And that usually comes from a reflection of what's been told to him. And then if the dude is really a bad guy or somebody who just really wasn't there at all, then the child's going to see it. They're going to see it reflected in the behavior or the absence of that father. But there are some times that are not really talked about as often when it may not be a bad guy. They just had a rocky start. Or had a rocky ending to their relationship. And then it was probably best that he kept a distance. Not to mean he didn't try, but best that he kept a distance to keep the peace. That's happened tons of times.
I have,
you know, and then
I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but I have two men that are
good.
with me right now who could very well use the excuse, well, I didn't grow up with a father, so I didn't know how to be a father. And both of you have stepped up to be amazing fathers. How did you not let that be an excuse?
Because for me, understanding how it felt, like I've been in some very serious, you know, situations, especially as a child, you know, something that I just revealed to my mother, you know, in my childhood of things happening to me and me feeling like left alone and unprotected. You know what I'm saying? And I you know, I used to, in a moment, I blamed my father for not being there to protect me and different things like that. So as I grew older and and was still holding on to a lot of those things. And we've spoken about these things.
Yeah.
About how, I held on to all of these things in the past, and that was like, that's what it stemmed from, the absence of my father. And I would blame so much on that. And that feeling stuck with me all through my adulthood. So it made me kind of channel that energy and be like, yo, my son is never going to feel this way. He's never going to feel unprotected. I'm going to always keep it real with him. I'm going to teach him everything I know. He's going to know who his father is. He's going to know, where he came from. He's going to know, from what he grew from. He's going to know. And I'm going to make my presence felt as often as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just, I thought about all of the times where, my father couldn't be there for football games, track meets, performances that I had. I mean, shit that I was really like killing it with. He was never able to be a part of that. And I took it with me. And a lot of times my mother wasn't able to be a part of that because of the void that was left by my father and her having to work and do all this extra shit. So a lot of the times I did a lot of shit on my own, and it stuck with me. I did like senior night. I don't know if y'all anybody plays sports or whatever, but like your senior night, especially if you play football or something like that.
Yeah, I know what
and it's right, and it's like on like a homecoming night or something. They walk out middle of the field. I was the only one who walked out without a parent. You know what I'm saying? And my ex-girlfriend at the time, her mom walked me out to the middle of the field.
Oh.
And like things like that stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, I can't never put my child through that. So it's like, especially being at a distance, having to travel, like nothing stands in the way. Like I will drop everything and drive those 6.5 hours to get there, to do whatever I need to do, to, not only just show face, but really spend real time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There have been times I've just popped up. Literally, I drove all that time just to be there, to do like a lunchroom surprise or something, and turn right back around.
Yeah.
Because it's that important. Those moments, they live forever. They live forever. To a child, it lives, and he remembers shit from years and years ago. Like, you remember that time we did? Remember when we was in Costa Rica and we fell off the jet skis and all kind of shit? Like, those are moments that last forever. And I know how important it is because of the absence that I had to suffer and deal with. So that's where I'm at with it. And I feel it's extremely important to not just be there, but also knowing that, he lives with his mother and she's like, pretty much providing a roof. I have to support that situation. I have to help kind of support as much as I can, within a certain level of respect. Help her to, kind of stay as calm or less stressed as possible, because that's something that my child's going to absorb. So being fully cognizant and fully conscious of the entire situation and not just thinking like, well, shit, I pay child support. What more you want? Pay child support. I get even during the summer. Like, that's like that absentee father shit. And It's just not enough. It's not enough, man. I hear this shit I hear it a lot. I'm just like, dog, that's not enough. I've been paying child support.
This is Cherry's World.
Making Memories Sale Series. It's a sale that allows families and people in our communities in any city, state, or showtime to attend a series of events at a lower price than most, such as like the Trolls Live, Disney on Ice, the Universal Soul Circus, concerts, sports, and more. Contact Less is More Events at 202-930-3533. Again, that's 202-930-3533. Visit the website, getlimetickets.com. They're on social media, Facebook, IG, Twitter. Less is more events. Get out and learn. Hey, if you're listening to Cherry's World Podcast on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, please give us a 5-star. Let us know what you think. Leave us a review. I want to hear from you. Thank you.
Would you like to advertise on Cherry's World and have your product placed on Cherry's social media for the world to see? Email us now at cherrysworldpodcast@gmail.com for low introductory rates. Cherry's World Podcast. Get heard.
Welcome to Cherry's World.
Can I ask you a question, man? You know what?
Yeah.
I just really saw over the past, 15 years, man, and like it shocked the hell out of me because I never even knew women were even capable. I'm not trying to change the subject, but I saw so many women like just give their child up, not like give them up like to the streets, but like they were just absent in their kid's life, and the father was raising these girls and just the kids in general by themselves because the girl wanted to try modeling or try, and I'm not saying like you can't go try to fulfill your, because men do it, but but these women would leave and not necessarily all come back, and I just couldn't believe that because I didn't even know women. I was raised by my mom, so because my dad died when I was 7, so I actually hold women to like a high level. I just had so much, I just look at them different, respect for them, and when I heard about a couple of guys I know raising their kids, and I was like, did the woman die? And she's like, oh no, she just didn't want to be a mother. I never heard of that before, like until I was like 25. That was then I started seeing it all the time. And I'm like, damn.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen that as well early on, and that's like more of the untold story. That's the one, because there are a lot of fathers that handle their business and get put in that situation, and they will go about it being the leader, being a father, and never really speaking or shouting out about it, or speaking an ill word about the mother. And when I look at that situation, I know it's going to be sort of an individual thing, but even there are some women who don't, or who haven't discovered that maternal instinct, and honestly just weren't ready.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of aspects of men and women kind of switching what we kind of call gender roles, or what we are expecting each to do, like the man to be the one who's being the being the promiscuous, doing this and fucking this person, doing that, and then we start to see this switch over time. Like I know we've all seen the iteration of Hot Girl Summer and all of that, which I think it does kind of get misconstrued, but there are some women who have taken that to the extreme, and then we see like, damn, man, things is changing. Like the niggas is getting their heart broken, and the women is being the one like, well, shit, well, I ain't about to be tied to one motherfucker, and we're seeing that same thing reflected in like the differences in between mother and fatherhood. But I also think that that's actually been going on for a while. It just hasn't really been spoken about because for so long, a lot of the target of breaking down, especially in I'm gonna try to keep it to talking about black family. I'm a black man, so I try to pull these things out as often as possible. But like the breakdown and the degradation of the black family, the unit, it's always you have to target the father or target the mother to turn against the father, so you can break that family unit down. And that way you kill not even 2 but 3 or 4 birds with one stone, because you break the family unit, you stop the African nation building, you produce children that are going to go through the school to prison pipeline, and then you're going to create this mother that is now going to be resentful of the father, and then she's probably going to be more apt to date outside of her race, thus stopping the production of, fully black people in these black strong nations and black strong families, stopping that shit dead in its tracks as much as possible. So I know that does play a part, and especially the overall breakdown and degradation of just the black social consciousness all around. We've been targets of so many like different things in this life that is so crazy, and it has no choice but to break down the family unit, because that's ultimately been the goal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of these things are symptoms of a deeper problem, and I try to stay as mindful of that as possible, because as soon as you lose sight of that, then you get into sort of into your emotions, and it's easy to do that, especially with somebody you didn't have a child with, and it turns into this precarious, crazy situation, and you just like, yo, man, well, fuck you, no, fuck you, and it just turns into this big thing. You're not even thinking about how it's going to affect the child. So it's real easy to get into that, but I can't lose sight of what this shit is really stemming from. And then on top of that, getting a little bit deeper into trying my best to be understanding of the female plight. Because I, for one, have believed for a very long time that women are far superior to men in a lot of goddamn ways. We may be superior physically, but that is probably where the shit stops. And maybe even logically, because men tend to be a little more logical and women tend to be a little more emotional. But there's an intelligence to their emotions. There's a thing called emotional intelligence, which is why their intuition is so high as opposed to ours. That's why you will hear your girl telling you like, yo, I don't know if you should go there with them this night, because they have that intuition, and they could also be your protector from afar without you even realizing it.
True.
That's why it's like, understanding they're so superior in so many ways, but we've been gifted with these physical gifts to sort of be the protector. And when we don't come through in that way, it automatically draws that divide and causes us to butt heads, and causes all this friction. So I try to be way more cognizant of that and try to be way more understanding because of how much more the woman is having to take on, either with the absence of men or just dealing with the shit they got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like, really think about how many women you see in just the sheer number of bullshit like advances that they get during the day or when they at work, and then they're going to a job that they probably fucking hate and having to deal with a bunch of men who are doing half the work but getting paid twice as much. And the shit is damn near criminal, but they deal with it and have sadly gotten used to the shit and have been constantly given the short end of the stick. And then here we are not having to work as hard to end up getting more. And then having the nerve to have like the sense of entitlement that I'm pretty sure 95 to 100% of women is kind of tired of that shit.
Yes.
So because of that, I try to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I try to keep as much of that in mind as possible. Now that's not to say that it ain't gonna be some times where, okay, shit just ain't working out. Shit just ain't, it's not vibing, it's not clicking, it's not connecting, but still maintaining a basic level of respect, especially if this woman is the mother of your child. It's at least that, like, yo, and it's, man, and the shit that really drives me crazy is like, dog, do niggas not understand how hard it is to carry a child? Now, we'll never fucking know, like, really truly how hard it could be, but yo, especially if the mother of your child went through a tough pregnancy and you weren't there, went through like a dangerous pregnancy and you weren't there because they were later on in their years when they were pregnant, which you become high risk at the age of 35, and it gets higher risk as the older they get. And then when they go through this, just the periods of carrying this child, and then how it changes their emotions drastically. And then don't get me started on the fucking delivery. Like they endure this pain that we can't even fathom. Like, bro, I done broke bones. I done dealt with all kinds of wild shit. I'm sure I've never felt the pain of having a whole human come out your pussy. That has to fucking hurt. Even with the epidural. Even with the epidural. So it's like, the shit is why they be, running the risk of shitting all over themselves. They deal with a lot, man. You know what I mean? So like, just trying to think about that every time. If it's like, yo, she's getting on my fucking nerves with this shit, asking me to do this. And then I just think like, you know what? Went through a lot. Let me try to make this shit as easy as possible. And if it's about the money, the monetary support, all right, that's easy. Fuck it. I'll make more. You know what I'm saying? I'm a natural born hustler. I'm going to do what I got to do. All right, cool. If that's going to calm shit down, all right, cool. What else? You need me to you need me to take my kids for a little bit? Let me handle that. All right, cool. You go cool off or something. I mean, just try to be more understanding, And I just think that's mainly, what's honestly lacking, just all across the board. Just that simple understanding and being cognizant and of others' feelings.
Thank you so much, Coke. Because I mean, it seems like a common sense conversation, but unfortunately, there is a whole, I don't even know what to call it, but there's a whole generation of people who have lacked that common sense. I really would love to have you come on more often and just kind of give us some sermons on fatherhood. Is that possible?
Whenever you need me, just shout. You already know.
It sounds funny, but I'm dead serious, Coke. We need you. The kids need you. And people who are trying to be fathers, our peers need you. Because a lot of them have no guidance and they don't have the common sense to, now if I say this, they're going to be upset with me, but man up and take responsibility for the lives that they've helped create.
Sure, I'll be mad at that. Nut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Just step up. That's precisely what you need to do. Put your nuts up and stop acting like a fucking punk, man. I mean, do what you're supposed to do. Handle your business. Be respectful to the one you made these children with. And knock off the bullshit, man. Honestly, fatherhood is not hard. It's a beautiful thing. To me, it's not hard. It's really not, man. Like, this shit is, kids are the most precious, fun, cool, people on earth. I mean, they might do some shit that kind of, work your nerves or whatever. But, once you realize, like, yo, this is a little life, man. They only been here for but so long. I mean, of course they're gonna have discovery. They're trying to figure things out. I mean, so I don't even get frustrated no more. It's just like, I just kind of laugh, like, yo, I was there. I was there at one point, and that's just how I take it, and it's just not hard no more. There's gonna be some tough moments, of course, but I don't look at it as like, oh man, I dread this shit, or I'm tired of this shit. I never get tired of being a father, and I'm gonna be a father for the rest of the time that I'm here in this flesh. So I just wear it as a badge of honor, man.
Thank you, Coke. I really appreciate you being here. Like, you done dropped some on them, and I think they receive it different coming from a man than they do coming from me.
True indeed.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you for having me. I'll be here. Just let me know when you need me to come back, and I'll share whatever's put on my heart to say.
Thank you. Have a good night, boo-boo.
Good meeting you, sir.
You too. All right, man. Good meeting you, dog. All right, peace.
Welcome to Cherry's World.
Brought to you by Less is More Events. Get Lime.